Hello. Guten Abend. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Today the subject that been chosen is the connection or depression and how the Buddhism can deal with this. First, I want to explain that Buddhism, we don't see the depression as a sickness. We are creatures, we are human beings. We have two main elements that we are functioning as a functioning thing. We have the physical element, what we call body, and we have the mind, which is mental element. And we are changing all the time. This physical element and mental element is all the time under changing. We are meeting different kind of situation in the life. We are exposing to different things by our six sense doors, and we are responding to this kind of information through our past. All these things that we are, let's say, the interaction between what we respond and how we react, this is what we call, let's say, the actions. We call it karma. And this is what is making our personality. This is what creates our personality during the time that we are changing. Sometimes we are changing into good, sometimes we are changing into bad. And our mind, we have different kinds. Some element is good element, good willing. Some element is bad. We are changing in our body. Before we were the children, we grow up slowly, yeah? And then we are also changing in our mind. Between our mind and our body, there is cause and effect. Sometimes the mind affecting the body, sometimes the body affecting the mind. The things that in the mind affecting on our body, we call it body made by mind. It means the mind effect. For example, people get bored and then it means this yawning. It's not because we are really tired, but because of the mind feel this feeling, so we are yawning. We have different kind of experience in the mind. For example, sometimes we are worried, sometimes we are angry, sometimes we are greedy. It means we have different kind of affection in the mind or volition in the mind. Sometimes in certain occasion, this volition is also mixing between them. It's coming few of them together. This kind of volition can appear, can show off, sometimes because of reason. For example, I give you example, sometimes someone tell me something which I don't like and then I get angry about them. Or the dog suddenly jumping on me and barking and then I get afraid. Or there is a reason for me, I get information and that's what make me react in this way. But sometimes it can be that we have this affection without any reason, without any trigger for it. Sometimes actually we fear, we have a fear inside or a restlessness inside without any reason for this. Sometimes we are nervous, we are angry without any reason. Also greed can appear in this way. Sometimes I can see something that I like very much, I don't know, maybe delicious cake, and then immediately I want it. Okay, so I got information and then the gear come up. But sometimes we have the wanting without any reason. We don't get any information, but suddenly the wanting coming. And during the year that we are living, we are all the time exposing to things and we are reacting to things. So our personality is slowly changing. It's not only to one direction. It's not only that we are getting bad. Sometimes we get bad, sometimes we are getting better. Into good. If we talk about depression is also one of these, let's say, characters or stages of mind. Usually it appears in the stage, we call it in Pali language, we use the word of Nibbida, or Nibbida Yana, stage of understanding of this condition. This is like every other condition and appear in every person. Every people have it. It's not mean that if someone have the intent to be depressed, he thinks that he's the only one that have. Actually, all the creatures have it. Even dogs and cats and even birds, they have this kind of feeling in some themselves. It depends on our karma. It depends on our deeds in the past. What we have done and what happened to us in the past, how strong is it inside us. There is some kind of characters that it's mixing. Like I said, all this volition, it's not necessary to come only one thing. For example, when we are worried, mostly our mind is jumping. It means this is two different things coming and show together. I can tell you that when we are practicing our kind of technique, what is going that we are just now, you saw maybe right goes dust, left goes dust. This is something like give you the ability to climb up some kind of stage of knowledge. When you are looking at yourself, slowly you can learn to understand yourself, and you learn also to overcome difficulties in yourself. In certain kind of understanding, or what we call stage of knowledge, in Pali we use it yana. Yana, it means stage of understanding of carrier, something that leads you to something. You expose more to what we call dukkha, suffering things inside us. But the difference is that actually you expose to this kind of feeling or this kind of emotion every day you expose it. But the only difference is that now when we are practicing and we use the mindfulness through it, we are learning to overcome it. Every yana actually there is, if we look at the book, already declared there, what kind of feeling is there, what kind of reactions in the mind, what kind of reactions in the body there is there. One thing is when we are looking at nature things, we learn not to identify with this kind of condition. We understand this is just feeling rising up in this moment on me, and not to be attached. This is I feel like this. One of the yana that we are going through, we are crossing through, is what we call nipitayana, like I said. What usually the experience of nipitayana? Boredom, sadness, wanting to be alone, not to see people. Wave of hot, dry, wanting to drink more. Sadness, sometimes doubting, starting a little bit, not so much, anger also. Heaviness in the shoulder, and starting to feel like I don't know where to be. I want somehow to go another place. This kind of things can lead to people, if they are really attached to all these conditions, even suicide. You see, it's not depend on age. It's not depend on how old is the person. It's not depend if he's a man or woman. It's depend on his karma, what happened to him in the past. It's very, very important to people to make a lot of good things, to help to others, to giving, to send merit, to send blessing, first to themselves, so to send to others, to send forgiveness, to make forget and forgive. Very important to forget and forgive to themselves also. Like I said, actually, like by the Buddhism, it's not mean that depression is sickness. People can learn to overcome it. It depends how strong it's inside us, how long we collect it. This is the way, how long it will take for cleaning out all these things. But we should not feel, despair. We can overcome it. What the Buddha find out actually in that night when you were sitting is the importance of the result when we use the mindfulness on this kind of conditions. That's why actually, like I said, this is effect from mental and effect on the physical element. It doesn't mean that people are really tired if they want to go to sleep or to escape into the bed or whatever a long time. It's just a physical result of this wanting to run away or not want to face with. So actually to overcome it is to learn how to overcome all these conditions in the mind. And what the Buddha find out, that it's possible to clean the mind from all this dust or rubbish. Like I said, our mind, there is like loving kindness, compassion, effort. Okay, this is the good thing that I mentioned. But we have also sadness and doubt and lazy and craving. This is something like the things which make us suffering. Okay, that's why I say betting. Actually, if by the Buddhism we count all these elements, we have altogether 52 different kind of stages. We call it volition, or in Pali we use sankhara. I'm talking also about the good, also about the bad. For example, wisdom is also one of them. Concentration is also one of them. But what the Buddha find out actually, that there is some kind of volition that is like a magic in our mind. It's like a soap that gives us the ability to clean the dishes, give us the ability to clean our clothes. I'm talking about the soap which is helping us to clean the mind. Do you know what is this soap? What is this volition which is like a magic working on our mind? Anyone know what? Huh?
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Achtsamkeit or mindfulness, it's also volition in our mind. Achtsamkeit or mindfulness, it's not something big. It's the things that make you know. If I ask you what you are doing in this moment, what is your position now? For example, I ask you or anyone, what you are doing now? You know how many times when I give this example, people changing in the position. They are sitting so long time, but without paying attention, and then pain in the back. But in one moment, when they realize, like a magic, they change the position. The moment that awareness coming in our mind, immediately, when we pay attention, we start to correct ourselves. After the Buddha find this idea, he didn't want to teach. Actually, what he find out that in our mind, okay, let's talk about it like a film, okay? The different film arising in our mind. You know, film like movie. There's a film in the movie. Yeah, shoot, how you call it?
Okay.
And there is a name for this. As much as, or as more as the picture of mindfulness will be there, the mind will be more and more clean. Before I told you that when people experience nipitayana, they experience sadness, they experience boredom, they experience hot in the body, they experience heavy, they experience drying, they experience lazy or don't want to do things. But I didn't mean about theoretically. I'm talking about what happened in our life when we experience this depression. It's come with itchy also. I said that in the moment that we are developing, beside all this, suppose we have this kind of period of time that we feel all this depression, or even one day, or even 1 week. But if we put this element inside us, we develop this inside us, which called mindfulness, slowly, not only that we learn to overcome it, we also cut it. Like I said, the Buddha, when he find this idea, he didn't want to teach. He had 2 reasons why he didn't want to teach. The first reason, he said, if I tell to people these so simple things, nobody will believe me that it's working. But second thing is that when people, they will have this experience and I tell them, look at it, it will be so difficult for them, they don't want to look at it. When we have difficult times, when we have suffering in our life, we use, since we're born, to try to run away. We don't want to look at nature things. But the Buddha said, you cannot overcome difficulties by running away. You have to look, you have to face with difficulty, and only then you learn to overcome it. And if we talk about this, I say, I ask you, what you're doing? Everybody say, we are sitting. So simple. If we talk about mindfulness, to develop mindfulness, it's very, very simple things. It's just we have to practice it, to maintain it. We can have to develop it. And to develop the mindfulness, the Buddha say we can use 4 elements inside us and to make it simple, not to run away after the mindfulness. Because if we are mindful, we are mindful. If we are not mindful, we are not mindful. We cannot make hocus pocus and develop mindfulness. How much you practice more, automatically this element of mindfulness will go up on you. Like every characters that you are developing. You develop it, automatically it will appear in your mind more and more time during the day. It will develop in your mind, it will appear in your mind, automatically it makes 4 things in your mind. Yeah. And I'm talking about the simple things, just to know what you're doing. This is what I'm talking about, when it will be more and more time in your mind. This is the things, the knowing what you are doing. This is the things that I'm talking about, what you should develop in your mind. What is these 4 things that I can pay attention to them, or I know what happened to me with them? And it doesn't matter which of them I pay attention. As long as I pay attention to one of these elements that I'm going to explain about them, then it means that mindfulness in your mind already making the work. How much it will be more simple to you, better for you, easier. The first element is the most clear, more gross, is our body. When we are walking, sitting, standing, and laying down, we are walking. Even you go to shop or whatever, you know now you are walking. In this moment, you have mindfulness. In this moment, you are working with your mind. You are cleaning your mind. You go to work. You go even meditation. Okay. Second is just you are sitting now. Like I ask you what you are doing. You are sitting. As much as even at the time that you are listening to me, you know we are sitting now. We are sitting. In the moment that you realize we are sitting now, you make work with yourself. You are developing the mind. In the moment that you are standing on the line, standing on the bus, standing whatever, you know, my body is standing now. Now I'm standing. In this moment you are making work with yourself. And the last position of the body is just laying down, even before you go to sleep. Just laying down. If you know you are laying down, already now in this moment you are bringing your mind to the present moment. You are doing great job with your mind, development with your mind. So I talk about the big body, just whatever, whenever you remember, you go. Sometimes you forget because it's not developed the mindfulness. But in the moment that you remember, okay, again I'm sitting, like now for example. And then we have also small body. You think you are eating, you pay attention how you are eating. You do things, whatever. You are driving, you know how you are driving. All this endless movement, small movement of the body. You pay attention to it. Every moment that you do whatever and you pay attention, you are making great job in your mind. You're developing your mind. It does not mean we have to walk slow in motion or whatever, to eat very slowly. You live your life normally, just with mindfulness. Second thing that we can pay attention is our feeling. If we talk about depression, usually it comes with disliking feeling. It will not be able to come with happy feeling, but sometimes also neutral. So every moment that you feel, for example, disliking, you should acknowledge disliking. In this moment you are doing great job in yourself. Sometimes just we feel neutral. Also this one we can acknowledge neutral. But everything changing. Sometimes you will change and then suddenly you feel happiness inside you. Also then you have to acknowledge. To have to know, now my feeling is happy. So you don't get attached to the feeling when they are just changing. When you see this kind of feeling, you learn to be on the top of them. You don't let them play with you. Usually they are playing with us. We are suddenly happy, suddenly sad, every time upside down. But when you acknowledge you are learning to be on the top of them, you just see them as the conditions coming and going, as a feeling. You don't identify, you don't hold them, they don't play with you. Like, marionetta. Usually we are holding this kind of happy feeling and we think this is the real happiness. But it's just emotion in certain moments in our life. So we say we have three kinds of feeling: liking, disliking, and neutral. We have to be mindful. So we have, like I said, we have our body that we can be mindful, but we have also feelings to be mindful. And it's not mean that the mindfulness on the body is more important or less important than the feeling. Whatever you pay attention in this moment is already great. And then we have the third thing. I say altogether is 4 elements that I can pay attention. The third thing is our mind, memory. I start to remember something, or planning something, or thinking about something. You think how many things starting. If I talk about 6 sense doors, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, feeling, and what about the thinking? Sometimes I just thinking coming in my mind and immediately I follow it and it became big story in my mind and I'm fighting with people already that actually it's not exist anything. It's everything in my mind. But you think that in the moment the thinking coming in your mind, you just pay attention. Thinking coming on me. You don't hold them. They will not be real. For now, when we don't acknowledge, they can come back as a real thing. So, like I said, this also we have to acknowledge, okay? Like memory, like planning also, judging, all these we call mind. Then the 4 things we call mind objects. the anger, worry, doubt, lazy, craving. Anyone don't have any one of these? See, everybody, like I said before, we are creatures. We are human beings, but not only we are as the creatures. All the dog, the cat, the fish, all of them, they have the same thing. They are fighting with these things the same like us, or even more. But we are lucky. We have advantage. We can make work on it, and we can change it, because anyway it will change. Sometime into good, sometime into bad. Yeah. So why we have advantage? Because we can develop this element of mindfulness. And when we are developing the mindfulness in the mind, like I said, 4 elements happen in our mind. If we talk like this by the Buddhism, the animals cannot develop mindfulness. They don't have mind. Only human being can do it. That's why we are so lucky. You see how bad is it that people without understanding, when they go into deep depression and then they want to go away, they want to disappear, like I described, and then what they are doing? They destroy this machine, which called already they are human beings, they destroy it. How foolish things is to do it, how misunderstanding is to do it. So you think how foolish is it, how misunderstanding, how ignorant things is to do like this. So like I said, when we are planning this mindfulness in our mind, we don't make only one thing, we're making 4 things in the same moment. First, we protect ourselves from getting bad information inside us, collect bad things that will destroy us more. For example, if we acknowledge we see something, if we don't pay attention to this, if we don't know that we see something, immediately plop, it's going. This information going, immediately another things develop in us, maybe disliking, okay? And then go on into judging and analyzing it, and then big fighting inside us. So if we acknowledge seeing, or hearing, something like we call it protect your sense doors. We don't let this information, boom, something like we protect, not let this information to influence on us so much. Yeah, okay, no problem, it's okay. When, for example, we see something, we acknowledge seeing, so we protect like a fence. We call it protect your sense doors. We protect our sense doors. Because if we talk about this, how I know that you are sitting here? Because I see you. Suppose someone says something, how I know? I hear. I have 6 sense doors: hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, feeling, and thinking. That this is how I expose to the life, to the surrounding. For example, people driving in the traffic jam or whatever, and suddenly someone making beep, beep, beep. How do they know? They just get information, this on in the ear, the vibration of the voice. But it's not finished there. It's like a first candle. But if they don't acknowledge, for example, hearing, boom, immediately feeling is there. It's not finished. Immediately feeling coming on me. Maybe I don't like it. And then, boom, memory coming there. This is driver, another driver. And then judging. He's airy, he don't have any patience. And then anger is there. How I open the door to beat them immediately. You see, 1 candle. I didn't protect my sense doors. The first candle, just hearing, immediately fire in me. So fast. So that's why I say, when you acknowledge the sense doors, first you protect your sense doors. You don't let bad information to come in. Something like tick, the first lighter. Something like the bomb is there, and just you have to light it. If you use mindfulness, how many of them you turn off during the day? But I said this is one thing only. Another thing, every time, what the Buddha find out, every time that suppose anger coming in you, or depression coming in your mind, you put mindfulness on it, it will cut from this. Different people have different amount of these characters inside. Like I said, it depends on your past. What you make, what other people you expose to. Everyone have different tree of this, but it's not the end. It's possible to change it into good and good. Just every time that you feel this kind of bad feeling, you acknowledge it. For example, you feel bad, or you feel sad, or you feel lonely, you acknowledge it, boom, you cut one leaf. boom, you cut one leg. For sure, one thing we need for this is patience. There is no technique. If any one of you will find this technique, you call me, I will come with you. But I don't want to cut the tree one time. But actually we are lucky that it's possible to change it. People call me sometimes, they say, oh, we feel this, and say, okay, you are lucky. It's more mean you are lucky now you have depression. You are lucky because you are making work with it. Another thing that the Buddha described it, he described it as a dust. He said we have dust in the eyes. When we acknowledge, we slowly cleaning the dust from the eyes. He used this example when I told you in the moment that he didn't want to teach, because he say people don't believe me, or people they don't want to look at the nature like this. It will be difficult for them. So what is the reason that he actually go to teach? Because he said that there is some people have a lot of dust in the eyes. These people I will not be able to teach them. They will not be able or open like you are sitting now and listening to the Dhamma. How many people there is maybe looking football, or I don't know what there is now. So he said some people or many people have a lot of dust in the eyes. These people I cannot teach them. But people have little dust, I can teach them, and they can bright the eyes from the dust. So this is the second effect when we are developing the mindfulness in our mind. This character of mindfulness in our mind, this is the second effect, which is cleaning the dust that already exists. And that's why when people are practicing meditation, by the time, slowly, anger, worry, doubt, lazy, craving, sadness, all these things going less and less, cutting out from their mind. And then we come to the third thing. When we are cutting, for example, the anger, we are developing another thing which is opposite, loving kindness. You are cutting the laziness, you are developing energy. You are cutting the restlessness, you are developing concentration. You are cutting worry or doubt, you are developing the confidence. You are cutting the ignorance, you are developing wisdom. So it means that in the third thing that you are doing, we say the first, you protect your sense doors, you don't let new rubbish to come in. The second is cleaning the rubbish that's already there. And the third, starting to develop good things inside you. So what happens when you are practicing? Okay, in the moment that you are practicing mindfulness, you are cleaning the mind. But you practice today, you practice tomorrow, you practice the day after tomorrow. It means you are developing it, you continue, you maintain the good job of cleaning. So this is the fourth effort. So then you are, like I said, developing four things. You are stopping bad things to come. So slowly you become new, better people. You mean you don't collect any more bad things. So you're just getting rid from the bad things that are already inside, but not collecting new. And then you continue, you are developing the good things inside you. So you become new into better. So this way your personality changing, and you get more and more tools to overcome all these bad feelings that attack you. Maybe every sometime. This moment the person became independent. He don't need all this medicine and all this chemic in his mind to make him to cover this kind of bad feeling, what we call depression. So develop the effort and energy, confidence, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Maybe I keep some space for questions. Anyone want to ask something?
And how to do, like when, like you described before, the mind starts to jump to this feeling and to that feeling. What can I do, like, to calm down the mind, or shall I just let it jump?
Yeah, I tell you, one thing, when you develop more and more the mindfulness, I'm talking about not only in the moment that you feel, usually only when we feel the bad feeling, then we are looking for tools. I'm talking to go to gymnastic room not only when you need to raise up the table. Sometimes my teacher used the example, he say, the barber, he come to the shop, he take the knife, he sharp it in the morning. Before he go he close the shop, he sharp. So the knife is all the time ready for shaving. So if you are practicing, training yourself, not only when you feel bad, also when you feel good, as much as you can. Maybe every day you practice, or you maintain it, you continue every day. So when in the time that you really need it, it will come by itself. This is one thing. But second thing is also it's the loving kindness, to develop loving kindness, good wish or goodwill or liebe Gute, how you call it. So this is two elements which is important to overcome it. But it's not a magic. It's not mean that I want it, I will get it now, and I do, and to start to analyze all this, it will not work. You cannot control the wisdom to come and to experience understanding or wisdom in this moment that we feel bad feeling. That's why it's important. The training is important. People that practicing retreat, on the time of the retreat, sometimes we meet this nipitayana, and something like it's come by itself. And then we acknowledge it. We are learning to slowly cutting it. And every retreat we are cutting more and more and more this nipitayana. So we get more and more tools to overcome it. If sometimes during the daily life or normal life it's affecting. And in the same time, this kind of characters disappearing, cleaning out from the mind. Petition.
I was talking about the four foundations of mindfulness, the four elements where you can develop the mindfulness. For him it was not so clear, the sense doors, seeing, hearing, where it's belonging to.
Okay. Usually we say like this: body, feeling, mind, and Dhamma. We call it. Dhamma is 27 elements. Usually we don't like to do the people confused. In the very beginning, when they hear this, I start to tell them 27 things. They don't know where to start, and so we talk about 5 hindrances, which is only 5 things inside them. Besides this, you have 6 sense doors. Also right, because I didn't mention them when I explain about 4 foundations of mindfulness. I talk about body, feeling, mind, and mind object, but I didn't talk about the 6 sense doors, and I forgot.
She said that you were saying, okay, if someone is experiencing the feeling or conditions of depression, one thing also to overcome is to do good and to help others.
Yeah, sure.
And then she say, on the other hand, she knows from reading or reading studies, very often people who are in helping jobs and are helping to others, very often are faced strongly with depression. If you can say something to this. Or?
Sure. You see, usually we think people, they start their life when they're born, when they was baby. The Buddhism, we are talking about the life didn't start in the moment of born. It was, we believe on, or we know that there is such things called reincarnation. Sometimes you see people, they're born in good family, rich family, they are beautiful, they have many friends, but they are still feeling this kind of feeling. Sometimes you see people born to good family, they are beautiful people, they have good food, they have good friends, everything. They come to certain age, maybe 10 years, and they get cancer. And even they look like angels. But our problem is that our memory is very short. We cannot remember too long. We cannot remember maybe the past life, 2 past lives, 3 past lives. We don't remember what we have done in the past, that we have to get rid now. Sometimes you see even, for example, children, they are also practicing Vipassana. Very nice, angels people, good family, rich, all the family, the beautiful people, nothing missing, but they are suffering from cancer. Boy, like an angel. How come this angel? He's really perfect person. I say, to Nirvana we cannot take anything. We have to throw away all the rubbish, all the karma, bad karma we have done in the past. We have to get rid from it. We don't know what we are carrying for the past. Understand? So it's not mean that this person is working, but very good for him, because this work that he's doing now, it will be affected in the future sometime. But it's important how we, now that we are fighting with our bad karma in the past, how not to let this kind of effect to take us down. Opposite, to learn from this, no pain, no gain. To let this kind of low stage that I am to go up upper. Anyway, everything is impermanent. Also this feeling, bad feeling that we have in certain, even 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 3 years, it will change. It cannot stay all the time like this. Nothing stay forever. We should be positive all the time. Overcome every difficulties in the life. Effort, everything we can do. Everything we can overcome. Should be optimistic.
Is it because you were speaking about karma, so I also have a question to this. Is there something like a family karma that something like maybe it's going over more generations and then maybe suddenly coming out in the whole bunch and this generation has to take it, or is it only like everybody has its own? And
the Buddha say ataya tanonato. It means the person depends on himself. You see, we have some kind of, we met sometimes, we are going together sometimes, we are separating sometimes. It means we have some kind of connection, some kind of relationship, but still every one of us producing his own karma, the other person producing his own karma. Sometimes the fruit of the karma, because it's Deepak, is getting the conditions to come up. So things come up together. For example, one airplane, 500 people go down. But it's not mean that all of them, they make the same things in the same time. 200 people, they stay in the jail, but they didn't make the same crime. Even they meet there. So I cannot say that all of them, they have karma, community karma.
Somehow I have the idea or the information. Sometimes also the karma happening in a connection or relationship between people, like maybe there is something like one is superior and the other is under it, and so in another encounter, in another meeting, this is also the way to dissolve the karma. So this is my question: is it like this? That can be, or maybe not?
Can be, but
the murderer and the victim, for example.
Can be, but not necessary. Can be, but not necessary. Okay. Can be, but not necessary. Sometimes certain people make to another person something, and then it happens that the other person is turned back. Can be. But what happens is when it's turning back, again this one is making something which is have to repeat back to him. And this one is maybe a pain, something that he has. But if they don't stop this ignorance, this will continue turning and play, and this will continue turning and play. Can be that they will play between themselves. Can be that they play in another occasion.
I'm just pointing to this because I realized that my maybe karma is happening in my relationships with others, and that it's much easier forgiving or blessing my dog or my cat than my ex-friend or my father or something like that. This is the real Herausforderung.
Challenge. The real challenge being in the connections with others, he says.
You see, by the Buddhism, the Buddha said that, I just touched about the idea about connection between people or creatures. Like I said, the Buddha said, we are meeting, going together and separating. And again, after some time meeting again, going together again, sometimes even 1 minute, even 100 years, I don't know, or maybe a husband and wife getting married 20 and then they are living 120 years old. Whatever, okay? Or two turtles that living 500 years together. Just for example, okay? Just to show you that there is no, it doesn't matter how long they are together, okay? And then separate, okay? This is nature things for us.
Yes.
How many creatures around the world? So many kinds of fish and so many kinds of, you don't meet them. But this accident of meeting, for example, if you go on the street and you suppose eating someone like this, oh sorry, minimum 500 reincarnations you would meet them. So you think how many reincarnations you go with your parents?
Yes.
How many reincarnations you go with your dog? That's why we should meet in the good way. We should go together in a good way. We should separate in a good way. So then when we will meet again, we should meet again in a good way. This is our interest, to feel good with the people. That's why your challenge is very important. To build a relationship and loving kindness through all the people that you just think about them. To overcome your anger, jealousy, envy, your worry, through all the creatures. Because they will follow you long time. And
the idea of being hurt.
And the only happiness that you will find on the mountain is the happiness that you will take it with you. So clean your mind, make it happy. Only then you will make peace with others. If you see other people anger or disliking about you, you will say only by loving kindness you can overcome anger. Not by anger you will overcome. You want happiness, you have to clean your diamond, sharp your diamond. Then you will get the happiness by destroying enemies. British.
I was saying if someone is facing depression or negative feeling over a long period of time, through the time he can also, if he putting the mindfulness, he can change his character, he can develop. So what, for example, in the case my sister, she has some kind of chemical like disorder, meaning that like it's a physical body disorder, and probably you cannot solve it with changing your behavior because it's the cause is physical. So what you would say, like how to do with these people, what to recommend, or just what you can say
Very
about
good. You come back to the beginning of my talk, the connection between body and mind. And this is very bad for people to be extreme, to say I'm only going to the meditation, I don't do anything, but I don't go to the doctor. It's too extreme. People coming sometimes with the treatment or whatever, they are treated sometimes, and then they want to come to that I will help them. I tell them first you continue, you bring the medicine with you, whatever the doctor give you. When the person is practicing and we start slowly it's process of changing, then the doctor will notice by himself to change the medicine. But it's very wrong for people to come to think we are spiritual people, we don't need anything anymore. It's very wrong thing. We call it machima, middle way. We should cooperate together. The medicine and the meditation should go together. This is correct 100% what you said. This is exactly what I explained in the very beginning. Body and mind, there is connection, relationship. If I have a cut, I feel the pain. The cut is in the body. I don't like it, it's in the mind. For sure, this is connection. So it's important to combine between the two, not to be extreme to any. I think not all the tiredness is because of depression. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.